The lowest point in Russia is the Caspian Sea, which is over 28 meters below sea level.
Yes, did you know the highest point is Mount Elbrus? It's 5,533 meters above sea level. It's also the highest mountain in Europe.
Got the lowest and the highest.
The lowest and the highest.
Very crazy.
And now here's Saudi Arabia.
Riyadh's camel market is one of the largest in the world and sells about 100 camels per day and can be found right there in Saudi Arabia.
That's exciting, 100 camels.
A lot of camels.
It's a lot of
per day.
camels.
Now, Singapore. Singapore is home to the world's first night zoo, the Night Safari.
Wow. Did you know the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve in Singapore contains more species of trees than the entire North American continent?
They may have a lot of trees, but I'll bet what they don't have is one of the tree of lives from Bahrain.
That's probably true.
Some kind of seafood in it. But did you know that they harvest more than 90% of the world's seaweed consumption?
Seaweed snacks.
I loved the choreographed run-on. That was really fun. Here comes Taiwan, a territory of China.
Did you know the popular Asian drink bubble tea, or boba? It's made with milk and tapioca pearls, and it originated in Taiwan in the 1980s.
I did not know that. Are you a bubble tea fan?
I love bubble tea.
All right, I have never actually tried it, so I'll swing by their pit later on. I got a lot of pits to visit today.
Yep.
Welcome, Tunisia! In the Matmata area of Tunisia, people still live in underground houses to escape the strong heat of the desert.
Did you know that they have some of the most spectacular beaches right next to some of the most amazing desert? It is incredible.
I did not know that. They must do a lot of running on those beaches because they came running right down our stage.
And now, here's Turkey.
In Turkey, you can find the Grand Bazaar, which is a shopping mall that is over 540 years old. It spans 64 streets, has 4,000 shops, and over 25,000 workers.
I could probably spend a day in that mall.
You are a fan of shopping.
I am a fan of shopping, it's true.
I'll wait outside and wait for you.
That sounds good. And now, the United Arab Emirates. Grant, did you know that the UAE is divided into 7 emirates?
I did know that, but did you know that Dubai, one of the main emirates, has no street names, no street addresses, no zip codes, no nothing. People travel there according to landmarks and send posts to P.O. boxes.
It would take me a long time to find my way around.
It did take me a long time to find my way around when I was there for the UAE National Championship last year.
That's right.
Now, the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom. That's where James Bond is from. Did you know that the 007 was inspired by the author Ian Fleming's bus route from Canterbury to London?
I did not know that.
They consume over 27 tons of strawberries and cream every year for Britain's Wimbledon Tennis Championship.
It's a lot of berries and cream.
It's a lot of berries and cream. No kidding.
And apparently, they are more used to shaking hands than fist bumping because that was beautiful. I hope it was on camera. Now, let's hear it for our host country, the United States of America! Did you know that 3 of the 5 oldest rivers in the world flow here in the U.S.? The New River, the Susquehanna, the French Broad Rivers are each hundreds of millions of years old.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A lot of rivers, a lot of history here. Lots of teams from the USA playing here. The current U.S. flag, which you see being proudly carried by many of these teams, was actually designed as a school project. Robert G. Heck designed the flag his junior year of high school, but he only received a B- for it.
That's a tough grading scale.
Tough grading scale.
We seem to think that English is our official language, but it's really the national language. Did you know that the United States doesn't actually have an official language?
I did not know that. We've got a ton of teams coming here. Looks like almost all 50 states represented.
Wow. There's a lot of girl-powered.
Lots of girl-powered as well. I'm a personal big fan of the Uncle Sam outfits right there.
Oh, very nice.
Join me in giving a big welcome to my friend, CEO and Chairman of the Board for the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation, Mr. Dan Mads.
Thanks, Grant. On behalf of the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation, welcome to the 12th Annual VEX Robotics World Championship. We hope you are as excited to be here as we are. You know, this is my second year as CEO, and I have loved so many parts of this job. But my favorite part of this job is meeting all the great people involved with VEX Robotics. There are too many great stories to tell them all today. But the REC Foundation has released a new book in time for VEX Worlds that shares some of these stories. In each team bag, we provided 2 copies of our book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, inspiring students one robot at a time. If you want additional copies, please go to the pit admin. Let's talk about the design process. For me, this begins with my notebook. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. It's loaded with ideas and lots of notes and plans, but believe me, it's loaded with a bunch of failures too. When I first started as an engineer at Fanuc Robotics, they handed me a notebook and a mechanical pencil, and from that first day, every idea, thought, and design was captured in my notebook. To this day, I still write it all in my book. And we encourage you to capture everything in your design notebook. This is a very important part of the VEX Robotics design process. You guys know the drill by now, right? You get the game unveiled, you go back, you start writing your ideas on how you're gonna play the game, then you build the robot and you program the robot, and you go to your first competition, and it just doesn't work like you planned because you kind of failed, right? And so you go back and you iterate and you try again. So to the students, coaches, if you made changes to your robot after the first competition, stand up and cheer. And that is the design process. It's with that failure and those iterations that you learn and improve, because the design process doesn't end there. After every competition, we encourage you to again and again write in your design book both what right and what went wrong, because it's this iterative approach that prepares you for your next competition and, more importantly, your careers. For some of you, this is your 10th competition, and for others, it may only be your 3rd or 4th. But one thing that you have done is after every competition, you have learned from your failures, improved your robot design, and qualified to be here at the VEX Robotics World Championship. We all know that the Robotics Education and Competitions Foundation's mission is to increase student interest and involvement in STEM by engaging students in hands-on, affordable, and sustainable robotics engineering programs. This sounds like a pretty simple mission, but when we stop to think about all the students our mission has impacted, we begin to see how big it really, really is. First, because of great support from our sponsors such as NASA, the number of robotics teams in our program has increased by over 4,800 this year to over 24,000 teams. And you know what? The VEX IQ program's even been more spectacular. Just 5 years ago, we had under 1,000 teams. This year, we had 12,000 VEX IQ teams. And I think soon that you guys will actually even be bigger than VRC. What do you think? Another amazing thing, our students this year increased by over 30,000 students, and because of amazing efforts from our event partners and volunteers, we added over 500 new events this year. These event partners and volunteers work tirelessly. Without them and the volunteers, there would be no competitions. Thank you, event partners. You are the engine that drives all of this. Our Girl Powered initiative, sponsored by Google and Texas Instruments, soared, and we increased participation of young women in VEX Robotics teams from 23% to 37%. And in the VEX IQ program, we're at 45% of our students are females now, so congratulations. Who here today is a girl-powered team? If you're a girl-powered team, cheer. Another great program this year is we introduced thousands of Girl Scouts to our robotics through our MIA program. The MIA program allows Girl Scout troops from across the United States to contact the REC Foundation and get a MIA kit. And these students actually build a robot. And when they're so excited about the opportunity that once they've built this MIA robot, they actually can go to the REC Foundation and get a VEX IQ robot. This year we started over 50 Girl Scout teams because of the MIA program. Isn't that incredible?